When God revealed his plan to destroy the world with a flood, in Genesis 6 verse 7, he told Noah that he would eliminate man, along with animals, creeping things, and birds of the sky, as he regretted having made them. Interestingly, fish and other marine creatures were not included in this plan of destruction. This raises the question of whether fish were affected by the flood. In Genesis 6 verse 17, it is mentioned that God would bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh that has the breath of life under heaven, and everything on land would die. The floodwaters would drown terrestrial animals, but aquatic animals would not be affected by more water. Fish do not have the breath of life in the same way as land animals and birds, so they were not included in the ark's passenger list. Genesis 6 verses 19 to 21 further clarifies that Noah was instructed to bring 2 of every kind of living creature found on land into the ark to keep them alive. This included birds, animals, and creeping things on the ground. Noah was also told to gather every kind of food that was eatable and store it as food for himself and the animals. This clearly indicates that marine creatures did not need the ark to survive. Genesis 7 verses 20 to 23 lists the animals that died in the flood, but marine life is not mentioned. The waters rose 15 cubits above the highest ground, covering the mountains, and all living beings on land perished, including birds, livestock, wild animals, creeping things, and humans. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life died. Only Noah and those with him in the ark remained alive. In Genesis 8 verse 1, it is mentioned that after the flood, God remembered Noah and all the beasts and animals with him in the ark, but there is no mention of fish and marine creatures. These creatures were not destroyed like the other animals, so it is uncertain why they were not specifically mentioned. The Hebrew worldview had a distinct way of categorizing animal life. According to Genesis 1 verse 21, on the 5th day of creation, God created fish, marine life, and flying creatures, including birds. The passage states that God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. God saw that it was good. Terrestrial animals, on the other hand, were created on the 6th day as mentioned in Genesis 1 verse 24. The Jewish people divided animal life into 3 categories: marine life, flying animals, and terrestrial animals. However, only flying and terrestrial animals were taken aboard the ark because fish and other marine life were not at risk underwater. Regarding clean and unclean animals, Noah was instructed to take more clean animals than unclean ones onto the ark. Genesis 7 verses 2 to 3 states that Noah was to take 7 pairs of every clean animal, the male and its female, and 2 of the animals that are not clean, the male and its female. He was also to take 7 pairs of the birds of the sky, the male and the female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of the earth. This distinction between clean and unclean animals is further elaborated in Leviticus 11, which specifies which animals are considered clean and unclean. Clean animals are those that have a cloven hoof and chew the cud, such as sheep, goats, deer, and cattle. Clean seafood must have both scales and fins, like cod, grouper, and sunfish. Certain birds, such as doves, chickens, and ducks, are also considered clean. Interestingly, some insects like locusts and grasshoppers are deemed clean. Unclean animals include those that either do not chew the cud or do not have a cloven hoof, such as pigs, dogs, cats, horses, donkeys, and rats. Seafood lacking fins or scales, like mollusks, lobsters, oysters, and catfish, are also considered unclean. Some birds, such as owls, hawks, and vultures, as well as other creatures like reptiles and amphibians, are also unclean. The New Testament teaches that we are no longer judged based on the foods we eat, as stated in Colossians 2 verse 16. However, nutritionists have observed that the Old Testament's categorization of clean and unclean foods provides practical guidance for a healthy diet. In a time before modern food safety practices, eating only clean animals would have helped people avoid many health problems. God's distinction between clean and unclean animals was not just about diet, but also to remind Israel of their separate status to worship the one true God. In Genesis 7, the reference to clean animals would have been understood by the original audience as meaning animals that God had designated as fit for consumption and sacrifice. Therefore, Noah included more clean animals than unclean ones on the ark, not just for preservation but also for future use. After the flood, Noah made a sacrifice as mentioned in Genesis 8 verse 20. Since he had taken 7 pairs of each clean animal on the ark, there would still be many animals remaining to repopulate the earth after the sacrifice. The true story of the Nephilim is one of the most mysterious and intriguing parts of Genesis. Scripture indicates that a portion of Satan's fallen angels failed to maintain their proper domain by materializing and interacting with humans in ways angels were never intended to do. This interaction is depicted in Genesis 6 verses 1-4, which says that when men began to multiply on the face of the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and took wives for themselves. The Lord then said his spirit would not strive with man forever, for he is also flesh, yet his days would be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Although there are no explicit signs of angelic or demonic involvement at first glance, a passage in Job provides more insight into the omnipotence of God, detailing his control over creation. Job 38 verses 4-7 mentions the morning stars singing together and all the sons of God shouting for joy, which is often interpreted as angels. It is known that God founded the earth before humanity was created, so the mention of the sons of God in Genesis 6 is believed to refer to angels. This implies that the sons of God in Genesis 6 are also angels, suggesting that the Nephilim were the offspring of these unions between spiritual beings and human women. Jude likely understood Genesis 6 verses 1-4 as referring to the intermarriage between spiritual beings and humans. Jude 6 speaks about angels who disobeyed and left their designated authority position, which aligns with the event described in Genesis 6. These arguments support the traditional view that the sons of God united with human women and gave birth to the Nephilim. Although this may seem strange to modern ears, the Bible often presents truths that are stranger than fiction. These sons of God, or angels, were evil and twisted beings. Their actions may have been an attempt to corrupt the human lineage to prevent the Messiah from appearing. God had promised that the Messiah would one day crush the head of the serpent, Satan. By planting a genetic pathogen in humanity, Satan tried to make humans unfit to carry the seed of the woman, the promised Messiah. However, humanity became so corrupted that God decided to start over with Noah and his sons, imprisoning the demons that caused the corruption to prevent them from doing it again. God's response to this great wickedness was to declare that his spirit would not contend with man forever, meaning he would not allow humanity to remain in this rebellious state indefinitely. In the spiritual realm, when Jesus died, he faced the challenge of sacrificing his life for the good of the world. Despite the overwhelming nature of this mission, he accepted it. After hanging on the cross for 3 hours, Jesus gave up his life, but he was not helpless. Only he had the authority to end his own life. After his death, Peter provides insight into what happened in the spiritual realm. In 1 Peter 3 verses 18-21, it is mentioned that Jesus, after being put to death in the flesh but made alive in the spirit, went and made a proclamation to the spirits in prison who were disobedient in the days of Noah during the construction of the ark. Jesus preaching to the spirits in prison suggests that he went to Hades, the realm of the dead, to deliver his message. This reminds us of the extraordinary power and authority that Jesus holds over everything in the universe. Philippians 2 verse 10 states that in the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow, in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, highlighting Jesus' supreme authority. In the days of Noah and Lot, people were so immersed in materialistic activities like eating, drinking, marrying, buying, selling, building, and planting that they failed to recognize the spiritual and eternal aspects of their lives. Jesus warned that if we fall into the pit of materialism, we will not be ready when he comes. This was a significant trait of the days of Noah and Lot, and it is prevalent in today's world as well. Many people, including some Christians, are absorbed by materialism, making it crucial to remain spiritually alert and ready for Jesus' return. Despite the widespread evil, there were positive aspects of Noah's day. Noah himself was a preacher of righteousness and a person of faith, described in Genesis 6 verse 9 as a righteous man who walked with God. Hebrews 11 verse 7 credits Noah with having great faith, and 2 Peter 2 verse 5 calls him a preacher of righteousness. God waited patiently for 120 years while Noah built the ark, allowing ample time for people to repent and avoid judgment. God's long-suffering nature is evident in his desire for none to perish but for all to come to repentance, as stated in 2 Peter 3 verse 9. Noah's story illustrates the long-suffering nature of God, who waited while the ark was being prepared. This period of grace and patience reflects God's desire for people to repent and avoid judgment. The same principle applies today. God's patience continues, and people have the opportunity to turn to him before the final judgment. In conclusion, the story of Noah's Ark and the flood provides profound insights into God's judgment, mercy, and the survival of certain species.